God has commanded you to love all of you. I'll say that again. God has commanded you to love all of you with all of your imperfections. God says that He is commanding you to love all of you. And I'll tell you why. In Matthew chapter 22, verse 36 through 39, they had asked Jesus this question of which is the greatest commandment under the Mosaic law. And Jesus answered by saying this that you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. Now, watch this. He says, this is the first and great commandment. And the second, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. He's saying the first one is to love the Lord your God with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. But he also says that the second one is this one, and that is that you are to love your neighbor as you love yourself. But this is how he says this one. The second is like or equal to, the word like means equal to. He's saying that this second commandment is equal to the first one. The first one is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. But this is equal to that, that you are to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And what I wanted you to focus in on, that you love your neighbor as you love yourself, and that's equal to loving God. And so it becomes imperative, it is important that you learn to love all of you with all of your imperfections. Now, let me tell you first something about God's love, because then you can duplicate the same love for yourself and duplicate this same love when loving others. First thing you need to know about God's love is that you don't have to deserve it, you don't have to qualify for it. You'll never be good enough for it. You can't earn it and you can't buy it. Let me tell you how God loves all of you, and you can't do anything about it because you can't deserve you'll never be able to deserve it. You'll never qualify for it. You'll never be good enough for it. You can't earn it and you can't buy it, and you can't stop him from loving you. Now, let's switch this over to you loving yourself. That means that you don't say, well, I have to deserve loving myself. I got to qualify to love myself. I've got to be good enough before I can love myself. Or I've got to earn my own love. Certainly, you can't buy it. You can't do things to give you a reason to love yourself other than a decision to love yourself. You don't love yourself because you got the right clothes, living in the right house, got the right amount of money. You can't love yourself for those reasons. You love yourself because you have decided to love yourself, and you deserve to be loved. That is your birthright. And God is saying, the reason why it's so important for you to love yourself, because see, love needs a target. Love needs a target, and you are initially the target for your own love, for loving yourself. And when you get yourself filled up with loving you, guess what now? You can take that target of love that you use to target yourself, and now you can point it at other people. You can point that love at other people. But it works in the reverse too. There's a lot of self hate. Unfortunately, we learn to hate ourselves. A lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us, we learn to hate ourselves long before we learn to love ourselves. We achieve hating ourselves or strongly disliking ourselves long before we learn to love ourselves. So we have to play catch up. And that's what Jesus wants to teach us how to do, is to how to play catch up, to let us realize that loving yourself is the most important thing, because then that you can now show how God loves you. You can show how you love you, and you can show how you love others. He said, love the Lord your God, receive the love that God has for you. You love him, but it's imperative that you love yourself because you deserve to love yourself. And when you love yourself, there's certain things that you won't put up. You walk around and say, I don't have to earn anybody love. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be respected. I deserve for people to treat me right. Why? Because I love myself.